Welcome. My name is Jay Morrison, CEO and founder of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Excuse me, I have to correct myself. The historic Tulsa Real Estate Fund, the world's first ever black-owned Reg A real estate crowd fund. And I'm sitting here at our fund's headquarters and one of our fund's largest assets, the Black House, also known as the Legacy Center here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the East Point metro area. And we are in our 30,000 square foot building on our 2.6 acre campus in our development, phase one of our development, with the Founders Wall behind me. And we are bringing back TREF Talks Tuesdays. I think we're going to be maybe rebranding our podcast name shortly, but for now it's TREF Talk Tuesdays. And our fund, as I'll explain to you a little later, was created with kind of two spirits, strong spirits within the African community in America and within American history. That spirit is the spirit of Tulsa, Oklahoma's Black Wall Street, which was 40 acres and over 36 square blocks of over 2,000 homes and businesses that was built up from 1905 to 1921, that was bombed, burned, and massacred between May 31st and June 1st of 1921. So the spirit of Black Wall Street, where there was this 2,000 homes and businesses built up from 1905 to 1921 by the founder, O.W. Garvey. Right now, behind me are some of our co-working and Legacy Center members who are having a meeting in our conference room, and they are having a meeting in the O.W. Garvey conference room. We named that conference room and honored the founder of Black Wall Street, in which our fund is named after that historic community of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we are the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, but we do not reside in Tulsa. We have been birthed from the spirit of that Tulsa community. Also, much of our spirit is inspired by the legacy of the UNIA, which was an organization, the United Negro Improvement Association, which was founded by the Honorable Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a pioneering entrepreneur who was a Jamaican immigrant in America who would inevitably own dozens of businesses, from newspapers to nursing corps to factories, owned 5 boats. Historically, the Black Star Line Corporation, where Marcus Garvey raised what's equivalent to millions of dollars of capital today. He raised for the advancement of black people throughout the whole diaspora and people of African descent, again, all over the world. And so we have founded this fund as a vehicle, as a company, to practice and to live out the spirit of Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the spirit of Marcus Garvey's UNIA, and the spirit of having control of our economic dollars, our economic destiny, and from a real estate perspective and business perspective, to enact what we call comprehensive community development. We don't believe in just renovating properties or developing properties and not developing people. We believe in a model that you can't or shouldn't put broken people into pretty houses, right? And so we have to build people up as we build up our communities. And so this fund was, again, a company that was created and launched through a non-traditional IPO, June 1st of 2018, where the community at large and supporters of our community and supporters of this organization responded, and we offered securities of our company, shares or units of our company, to the public at $50 per share, and minimum share investment of 10 shares or $500, and we will go on to raise millions of dollars within days. So I want to give us, and today for all my Tulsa Real Estate Fund partners and those on our email list or those who have a profile with us at tulsarealestatefund.com, you all have been emailed at least twice now our 2019 year kickoff newsletter, 2020 kickoff or our 2019 recap newsletter. And so I want to encourage anyone listening on the live phones, and yes, you guys can call in live, and we'll give you that number in a second, and ask questions. We have a live Q&A. but for the multiple devices that are streaming or for our recording, we sent out a newsletter to our organization, and we'll be sending out this newsletter monthly, and we do these meetings. We'll have quarterly financial updates, etc. But I want to encourage you who are not on our email list, who are not part of our community, who haven't even looked to create an investment account. I want to encourage you all to go to TulsaRealEstateFund.com. No financial transaction has to happen. You owe us nothing, but we do want you to create an investment profile, an investor account. Just ask for a little bit of information, and I want to email out our newsletter to you in the next day or so. So if you guys want this newsletter, I'm going to go over it, but I want you to have it in your hand. I want you to have it in your inbox. Go to TulsaRealEstateFund.com, simply create an account to join our email list and our newsletter list. So in our 2020 kickoff of Clear Vision, let's talk about some of our 2019 activity. And the theme for tonight's podcast is performance, transparency, and trust. That was my fullest vision of who I know I needed to be and how I needed to act and what character and culture and core values we needed to bring into this company. And those were core values of, again, doing our best to perform in our financial transactions, offering as much transparency as we can, and through that performance and transparency and through repetition, building up community trust so we can move at the speed of trust and do more to improve and impact, our environment and our village. So again, this episode is about us highlighting to you and sharing with you and having a conversation with you about that mantra of our commitment to provide performance, transparency, and trust. Some things I want to talk about today is when it comes to performance, our fiduciary responsibility. And the fiduciary, for those who aren't familiar with that word, a fiduciary party or fiduciary person is the responsible party. And so as the fund manager, I take on, and as the pioneer of this organization, and all of us who have partnered in this organization, we take on some inherent risk as pioneers and trailblazers. But as the fund manager, as the captain of the ship, I take on and I own up to the responsibility for our organization and its success, its activity, or any challenges or obstacles that we have. It falls on me, right? That is the reality. And the reality why we were the first fund of this kind in 100 years within our community, and why there have not been tons of funds popping up since us, because it is a responsibility. It takes hard work. It is focus, it's dedication. There's reputational risk. If things don't go bad, guess what? All the fingers point at the manager and at the fiduciary party. And so we take on those things because Marcus Garvey took on those things. We take on those things because O.W. Gurley took on those things. We take on those things because so many others, Noble Drew Ali, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and so many others took on these acts of pioneering to make the investment to see our community advanced and in a better space. And so I stand on those shoulders, and one day I hope that we are strong enough to not stand on those shoulders, but for those elders and ancestors to stand on our shoulders as we move the ball forward and carry the torch forward, right? Our ancestors are tired of carrying us. It's time that we carry them. And we hope to accomplish that through the efforts of this organization, our sister companies, and future organizations that I'm sure we'll establish within this movement. So one of our first points I wanted to talk about, one of our first fiduciary responsibilities as an organization and as a fund manager, is to the preservation of capital and preserve our principal balance. So what that means is not going backwards, meaning we've raised capital, we're investing dollars, and we want to, one of our first responsibilities is to not lose the people's money and to not lose our own capital that we invested, to not go backwards to the best of our ability. It's our first fiduciary responsibility, is preserve the principal and preserve our capital, right? So I want you guys to understand, we are focused on, again, us moving forward and at all best efforts, not losing our investments, not losing anyone's faith. Second, to accrue equity over time. So in our fund, like sitting here in this Class A office space, this beautiful development we have here, through this and other investment opportunities, right? We have a full portfolio. We'll describe it in a little bit. But through our portfolio, our goal is to ensure and to accrue equity and appreciation over time, meaning that our real estate decisions we make are sound enough that we're buying properties or investing in developments at a discount, or we are investing into people who are developing at the right cost ratio or purchase ratio or loan to value it's called, and that we are making sure that we are ensuring instant equity or future equity over time through our fund. So that's one of our second fiduciary duties, is to accrue equity over time. And then third fiduciary duty is to harvest long-term profits, right? So it is certainly the spirit of Black Wall Street and the spirit of the UNIA that we do this, but it is also an economic vehicle. And so in this economic vehicle, we want to make sure that we are harvesting the opportunity for long-term profits through our investments. In commercial real estate, in private lending, in many of the functions in which we operate, many of the investments take what's called stabilization time. So here at the Legacy Center, we're done with phase 1 of our development. Phase 2 is still being developed this first and second quarter. And as we tenant this property and we lease out our offices and we build out our businesses here at the Legacy Center, this building will then become what's called stabilized. And based on that stabilized income and stabilized value, it appreciates the building value and grows equity in the building, right? And that takes time to facilitate. No different than our 98-unit apartment complex in Macon, Georgia. That's a property that we bought under market value. It's a property that we look to stabilize through re-tenanting, through improving the asset. And then as we raise rents through proper re-tenanting and bring rents to market value, not overcharging anyone, but just bringing it up to the market value, we end up increasing the net operating income, is what we hope, decreasing expenses to the best of our ability, creating more value in that asset, and again, stabilizing it and harvesting equity and profits over time, right? So this is part of our functions, is to participate in group economics, participate in comprehensive real estate development, and to participate in combating the gentrification within our neighborhoods, right? As well as helping to be a funding source for the urban community, for other developers and investors who have opportunities within their local communities, right? We want to be that rich uncle, we call it, or that funding source where we can collaborate, lend, or joint venture. But for the assets that we control or we own directly or develop directly, again, those assets we are looking to boost our future hopeful profits. And I use words like hopeful because in this fund context, as a manager, because of our regulations, we are regulated by different bodies. We cannot make any guarantees. It should not make any guarantees, and we want to make sure. Let's see, I got the magic touch. Boom. We want to make sure that we are projecting and estimating and not guarantee you all anything, just to be compliant, right? Okay. Second, we want to tell you about how we stayed the course, and I am very proud to announce some of our 2019 highlights. So 2019. As of 2019 and coming in 2020, TREF holds approximately $5 million in real estate and collateral assets with no mortgages or no debt, meaning the fund holds these assets free and clear. So our building we're sitting in right now, we one day likely will leverage and use the equity in this building to go buy other assets and develop and acquire other assets or fund other developers. But at the current moment, this building we own with no mortgage, no debt, free and clear, as well as several other assets we have collateralized or owned directly in the fund. So that is an accomplishment for us, although we understand the power of leverage and OPM and TBM, the bank's money, and we will utilize that. But we have taken advantage of controlling and owning our own, and in essence, funding our own opportunities, right? So over $5 million, or approximately $5 million in real estate assets and collateralized assets with no mortgage, no debt. Secondly, TREF acquired and developed phase 1 and opened a Legacy Center, which has a projected stabilized IRR of approximately 22%. So again, this is a major asset. This asset sits in an opportunity zone. I don't know if you guys heard the new opportunity zone fund legislation that gives us a lot of exit strategy opportunities being housed here in an opportunity zone in East Point, where it has a high poverty rate, where the community is in dire need of this kind of comprehensive development. Well, we've acquired this asset, again, 2.6 acres of land, 30,000 square feet in an opportunity zone, just 2 miles from Tyler Perry's studio, and just 5 minutes from the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And whether you guys are novice or experienced, you may have heard the 3 key rules of real estate, and that is location, location, location. And with all the development going on in the west side of Atlanta and downtown Atlanta, East Point, and this Tri-City area is one of the next up for major development that is commonly known and talked about throughout the Atlanta metro area. We are close to the world's busiest airport. We're in an opportunity zone. We're in a city with a black mayor, black female mayor, a majority black city council, and a community that is heavily influenced and heavily occupied by Africans in America, right? And so we're in the kind of neighborhoods and environments we want to be to facilitate our mission. And we're giving everyone opportunity to own shares of this building and our entire portfolio. For those just logging into our live streams or our conference call, again, we want to give you our monthly newsletter. So please go to TulsaRealEstateFund.com. You have to create an investment account. It costs you nothing, just a few bits of info from you. And we want to send out our newsletter to you in the next 24 to 48 hours. You can really read up tangibly what our fund has done and more information on our organization. Third, TREF holds approximately $1 million, over $1 million in cash and cash equivalents. So as we're investing into all these real estate assets, we do have this timer being fixed, by the way. But as we're investing in all these real estate assets, we also are keeping reserves to move our business forward, to handle our business operations, and for future investment opportunities in which come up. We also are still actively bringing on investment partners, raising capital, and increasing that reserve and investment account. But we are again not saying we have the proper reserves for our organization. We have assets, we have collateral, and we are constantly pushing forward to meet our commitment of performance, transparency, and trust. Fourth, TREF invested private capital. This is really big because it fits right into the mission of what we want to do, the spirit of the company, UNIA, Black Wall Street. TREF invested private capital with 6 African-American developers, totaling more than $7 million in private capital. Many of these developers commented they struggled securing private financing even though the fundamentals of their real estate deals were favorable. So we were able to directly invest ourselves or invest in others in excess of $7 million that we were able actually to pour back into community investments, developers, or direct investments. So this is, again, for me, and I'm going to talk about in a little bit my why and how we got here in a second. But when I thought about this fund back in 2015, right? So we're in 2020. This idea was an inception in 2015. I thought about all the attempts for influencers and leaders and whomever to raise capital in our community, and I wasn't satisfied with how we were organizing ourselves economically. I felt that all we relied on was a collection plate, a GoFundMe, or a Kickstarter, and I felt that when capital was raised, it was very hard for us to get an audit and to really see what was done with the money, right? Like I understand those concerns. And so when we talk about creating this organization, we want to create the organization in a way where we could meet those concerns and make sure that the capital that we raised was specifically going towards the causes that we laid out. And so for us to have, again, raise millions of dollars, right? I think it's a little north of $8.5 million, and to have deployed more than $7 million and still have a cash reserve, again, shows you some of the financial astuteness and responsibility we are giving our best attempt to operate within this movement and this organization. Number 5, big highlight. TREF invested, and we're in Women's History Month right now. TREF invested nearly $1 million in private capital with 2 African-American women for multifamily real estate developments. So I don't know what it is about the water in Louisiana, but somehow we have funded 2 black women, 2 African women in America, nearly $1 million investment on a 14-unit apartment complex and a 7-unit real estate development. I believe 2 units were being knocked down into a 5-unit kind of Airbnb quarter right there in New Orleans, post-Katrina, just miles from the French Quarter. And so we're proud to say in Women's History Month, and coming off of Black History Month, although we live these things every day, we're proud to say that we were able to park nearly $1 million in cash to help fund black women with their investment dreams and their investment goals. This is the spirit of Black Wall Street. This is the spirit of the UNIA, Marcus Garvey's UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. This is what our fund is based off of. It's not just raising capital on the hype, but it's actually doing the work. So in review of our newsletter for all our TREF partners, again, I encourage you to pull up your emails, pull out the newsletter. I want to touch on some points verbally with you as your partner and as the fund manager, fiduciary. We believe that transparency of our fund and our fiscal stewardship is the linchpin in earning and maintaining the trust of our fellow investment partners, right? So our ability to be transparent with you and our ability to perform, right, is going to be the linchpin to us earning your trust and us moving forward and doing amazing things together, right? This is just the start. What we've accomplished so far, by no means, this is the beta test. This is the pilot, if you will. This is us just getting started and together figuring it out. We're all investing into each other. We're all investing our efforts and time. I stay up sleepless nights, literally sleepless nights and mornings, making sure I do my best to get this right and to do best by our people and to all that, right? Like it really means a lot. And I voiced this in transparency and in vulnerability, being a fund manager, being a pioneer, being a trailblazer in this space where there's not a blueprint, there's not a bunch of other funds like this for me to go consult with, where, and we'll talk about some history in a second, but where the responsibility of this vision lies on me, my wife, our family. This means a lot to us. And just as your investment in this company and your shares, your membership means a lot to you, and I know. And I don't take anyone's investment or partnership interest any more serious than another, no matter what the amount is. But this is something that, we all have to, in my opinion, that I want to encourage everyone to band together and really look at this as just not an organization and a company, but really a movement. And so my goal in the movement, as I've been constantly relaying, my goal in the movement is to give you transparency, to give you the best of the performance that we can give you, and to gain and earn your trust. Like, that's our thing. In 2019, speaking of transparency and financials, where's the money? Where's the activity? In 2019, we filed the results of our full year audited financials, right? So in early 2019, we filed our audit financials. These audited financials were filed with the SEC and posted for public review. So our entire financial report was posted at Edgar at the sec.gov for you all to be able, the whole public, whether you member or not, to be able to see the filings of our company. The auditor, who by regulation has to be an independent certified public accountant, stated the following, and I quote, and before I get to the quote, our auditor is not an internal staff member. Our auditor is not a family friend. Our auditor, by regulation, has to be an independent certified public accountant. This is someone that holds their license and their certification dear to them and does not have a direct affiliation with our organization. Our auditor said, in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements referred to, and he said preferred to above, speaking in his audit, present fairly in all material respects, the consolidated financial position of Tulsa Real Estate Fund, LLC, and its subsidiaries. So what he's saying is in all material respects, as me as an independent, not me, but the auditor speaking, as a independent review, as a certified public accountant, in all material respects, regards to Tulsa Real Estate Fund and any of its subsidiary companies, any of the LLCs and companies under the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, all the assets we have activity with, he said our financial statements referred to above present fairly, meaning that there were no material concerns with our financial statements in audit or no what they call adverse opinions, right? That was our 2019, the audit we posted in 2019 from our 2018 year. And so this year we'll be following a new audit, which is taking place actually right now and being reviewed right now. So I want to just, take a breather. I know I'm saying a lot. I don't want to get into too much of a ramble. We will open up for Q&A in a second, but this is a newsletter review. And again, it's about performance, transparency, and trust. So I want us to try to put this in some kind of context that I'm 39 now. I think when we launched this, I was 38. 38. Now it might have been 37 when we launched this. 39 now. But 37-year-old entrepreneur from our community, former high school dropout, non-college educated, former 3-time felon, successful real estate investor who got hit with the market crash and has been through entrepreneurs' ups and downs, has filed bankruptcy, has bounced back, has built companies, has empowered the community, has been an author, an activist, a husband, a dad to 2 daughters, a teenage dad, right? Me. It's about me. Inspired by the Creator to go out and do the work our ancestors had formerly laid out a blueprint for us through Black Wall Street and Marcus Garvey's UNIA. And I went out with others and my partners and others who I implored who came a part of this movement, and now over 9,700 investment partners. And we went out and raised millions of dollars in capital, north of 8.5 million. And we all should be proud that we went out and we did the work, we deployed the capital, we invested into our community, invested in other developers, we developed in comprehensive community developments and assets. And where most people, because that was a sentiment. I've talked to people, I'm human, I see comments, I see videos, I see views, I hear people in person. Most people felt a sentiment that if a young black man, a young black entrepreneur raises millions of dollars, somehow he or the money will get missing. And so I'm very proud, and I do want to make the statement, and I do want us to take the stance, and you all should be proud, my 9,700, I believe 18 partners, that we went out and we raised the capital. We had full transparency in our audit, and we also have resurrected developments and assets and funded millions of dollars to other minority and African American developers and women developers, black women developers throughout the country. We went out and we performed as we said we would, and we did it with transparency, and we didn't go bluff or give off a perception of a fund. We actually created this company and are continuously doing the work. That's something that we have to stand on, because had we not done that, and had there been some mischievousness or misappropriation or all that, that would be all over and we would be talking about that. We talk about negative so fast. But the positive fact that there has been a audit statement that presented fairly to an independent accountant, the fact that we have deployed or invested $7 million of capital, the fact that we owned or control $5 million of real estate collateralized or owned assets, free and clear with no mortgage, the fact that we have performed in this way is something that we all, not for Jay Morrison boast. I'm talking about as an organization, as a movement, as a community, and as a human race, that there should be an understanding that we've done and are continuing to do our best, even against, we've been under multiple subpoenas from the DOJ, Department of Justice, subpoenas from the SEC to see our documents, our financials, over 50,000 emails. I mean, we've been through public scrutiny from the NFLPA. They alerted every NFL player and retiree to, hey, watch out for this fund. I mean, we've been under major scrutiny and radar and have dusted it off our shoulders, held our head up, as Nipsey Hussle said, rest in peace, chest out, poked our chest out, and still went to work. And that is also inspiration from our ancestors like the Honorable Marcus Garvey, who, when he was raising capital and buying boats and buying factories and starting newspapers and starting the African Nurses Corps and other businesses, there were members of the community that had campaigns that said Garvey must go. They literally had a whole campaign about him trying to get him out of the United States. J. Edgar Hoover, before he was in the FBI, when he was a small prosecutor, literally infiltrated Garvey's organization with black people he found to infiltrate and report and be informants on his organization. Same thing in Black Wall Street, where a mock scenario was created to cause a race riot to a race massacre to burn down and bomb Black Wall Street. And even after the 1921 bombing, it was then built back up again in 5 years. I'm talking about resilience, and I'm talking about authenticity, and I'm talking about perseverance. And that is the spirit and the root of how we get down over here. It's like what we about. This is the real action. And a queen inboxed me today. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick on my phone. I want to share this with you because it meant a lot to me. If I can find it, I got a million messages. Let's see if I get lucky. She said, I'm not gonna say who she is, but she DM'd me on Instagram. She said, congrats. I'm not gonna lie. I was skeptical at first. I've watched you from the inception of this, and I will say that I am super proud of you, King. Definitely interested in buying shares. Keep going. I learned a lot from you and definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I understand that sentiment in our community because of the lack of us being in this financial space. There hasn't been a bunch of funds or opportunities for us to invest in. And when we've taken leaps and had faith and trust in some of our influencers and leaders, it has not all been handled with integrity all the time. Sometimes, yes. So I'm just saying, I want to make that note that means a lot to me and for our company. It should mean a lot to you all and those of you who support us, that, man, they've raised millions and they really went and did the work. They didn't play around with this opportunity, this historic opportunity to do something great within our community. Another thing we're proud of is our new hires. We want to say quality hires. To build this organization, of course, I can't do it by myself. This is a major organization. We've added personnel in key positions, including compliance, operations, accounting, investor relations, and real estate analyst. All critical areas that help us continue to grow as a fund and deliver on our mission. So a lot of times, it's not all about just real estate activity. We have a lot of treasury responsibilities, financial controls, audits, financial reporting. We have many, legal and compliance things we have to navigate, from the business side to the SEC and regulatory side to the real estate side, not to mention general administrations, not to mention managing 9,700 plus investors, their expectations, communications, new investors, all these technologies that are involved. I mean, I think there's like nearly a dozen softwares involved in our organization. So there's a lot of moving parts and complexities, not to mention real estate development, multiple real estate developments, lending capital, mortgage servicing, analyzing deals, evaluating deals, right? All these things are very, very complex. Certainly some of the biggest entrepreneur challenges of my career. But that's the work we've been doing behind the scenes as well, is working on building a stellar team and staff to support this vision and movement. Notable highlights: grand opening of the Legacy Center. As you guys know, January 8th, which was Noble Drew Ali's birthday, and January 8th was the anniversary of our sister company, the J. Morrison Academy. We launched the Legacy Center and we opened our doors to the public. January 8th was also acknowledged by the mayor of East Point, Mayor Ingram Holiday. it was announced that Legacy Center, January 8th, will be Legacy Center Day in the city of East Point. Now that's one historical component, like written in the history books. In the city of East Point, January 8th is Legacy Center Day. Now, a couple years ago, back in October, Tulsa Real Estate Fund was given October 28th as Tulsa Real Estate Fund Day in the city of South Fulton, just next door. So it's super cool to make this kind of historical impact as an organization. We've had political activist and partner, TREF partner, Tamika Mallory, hip-hop artist My Song the General, TREF partner Demarius Thomas, TREF partner B. Simone, and others as influencers, celebrity partners who are members of this building and fund and organization. They were all there, as well as many of you flew from all over the country to be a part of our 5-day grand opening ceremony, where we had our ribbon cutting, we had our reception with a jazz band, we had our vision board party the following day, we had our all black kickback and turn up and networking event. This Friday coming up, what's that, March, what day we got? 4th? This Friday? 5th? Somebody help me.
6th. Friday's the 6th.
March 6th, this Friday, from 6 to 9 p.m. We want to welcome anyone in the Atlanta metro area or who can get here to come to the Black House for our first Fridays at the Black House, right? So every first Friday, we're doing a networking event from 6 to 9 p.m. We'll have one this Friday, March 6th. But it was a really cool experience at the All Back Kickback. We also held life insurance classes here, tax preparation classes here, and a corner class in our back warehouse phase 2 development. So again, we're not just about developing real estate. We are intentional about developing the people within the community. Excuse me. Here at the Legacy Center, excuse me one second, guys. Here at the Legacy Center, we offer a membership model for you to house your business here, right? Or to attend our events and be a part of our educational curriculum. So if you go to legacycenter.com, you'll see the opportunity for you to get different packages, for you to be just an events member and a social member, or to be a executive member where you actually will get an opportunity to work at your desk and share our break room and our Spread the Health Cafe. We have our own cafe here, to have access to our training rooms, our conference rooms, or to lease a designated desk area. Excuse me. So I want to encourage you all who may virtually or in the Atlanta metro area want to be a part of this building. Please go to legacycenter.com to see more about our building amenities, how you can be a part and be a member and share in our networking in this movement and environment we've created. We also have financial services for you, credit services, business funding and financing services, life insurance free quotes, tax preparation free quotes. So you can literally treat the Legacy Center as a hub for a financial ecosystem. And we want to help all of you all build your family legacies, starting here and starting with us, whether you're a member or not. So I want to encourage you all to go to legacycenter.com to look at our financial services, our events and education, as well as becoming a member here at our asset that we own in real life. And lastly, we're going to open up for the question and answer, guys, in a second. I'll read out the call number for those who aren't chimed in on live streams. We'll have the call number. We'll take Q&A. And I have a special guest coming that's bringing us some special stuff. So that'll be happening. I want you guys to stay tuned. It's really, really cool what I'm going to be showing you. So some housekeeping items for my partners, right? So all TREF partners, 9,700, and I believe 18 of you, approximately. Some housekeeping items. One, we have sent out communications, and I want to reiterate this to all my partners. Formal message to investors. K1, right? That's your partner tax returns, your partnership tax returns. K1 notifications went out in February informing investors that their K1s will be issued by or before March 15th. We're on schedule to meet that deadline, right? Now, I know that's a concern to many of you because many of you are trying to file your taxes and you got this K1s out from your investment into the fund, but I want to also educate us and level some expectations. So, To meet a March 15 deadline for K1s is a pretty aggressive deadline. Most funds ask their investors, or many funds anyway, ask their investors to request tax filing extensions, and the fund issues the K1 sometime during the spring, summer, or fall. We wanted to get K1s out early as possible to everyone, but it will be irresponsible for us to rush the K1s in advance of proper accounting and the fund's fiduciary responsibility and finances. So we're gonna wait to complete this until we get our financials out to our partner, then we get out to our partners. But we rely on developers and vendors and other partners to get us information for us to be able to finish our audit to then give you your K1. So I want to kind of illustrate that a little bit, how that looks. So my goal was to kind of educate us on this journey. I know it's not something that we've all have done before. So I just want to give you a little bit of context, right? So let's take the whole year, right, of 2019. So this is our year 2019. We've had financial activity. Now, and for us, going into 2020, we cannot begin to prepare now mind you, all 2019, our accounting team and our treasury team, they keep as best filing and reconciliation of our books and our records and our financial statements as possible, so that we are prepared as soon as possible to start our audit process. But we cannot technically end our 2019 financial year, right, until, begin our 2019 audit until January 1st, which is a holiday, of 2020. So our process of accounting for all the transactions, all the mortgage payments, all the capital, all the vendors, all the developments, all the appreciation of assets, all the cost segregation, all the accounting functions, that process starts, January 1st. The tax deadline is March 15th. So we can't issue you all responsibly a K1 until our audit is done. So this gives us 75 days, right? This period gives us 75 days to pull all of our data from all of our partners, reconcile it all through all of our accounting processes, right? Shares and dividends and all this process. And then once it's reconciled, then give it to the auditor. And then we're on the auditor's time to make his or her notes, get it back to us, make any changes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and go through this audit process. So I'm giving you the visual so we all understand together, and for future investors, you understand the process, that it's difficult in 75 days, depending on other people to get you data and to approve financials and documents, is difficult to get a K1 done in this time. But we learned from last year, so we were able to put better financial controls in process and reconciliation measures, so that soon we were finished, we were in a better place in 2019 or 2020 than we were going to 2018, 2019. And it's actually happening at a much rapider pace than we hoped or expected. So we will likely meet and on pace to meet our March 15th deadline. But why most funds ask their investors to extend to a later months and extend their tax filings is because it really does take time, depending on your activity, to be able to reconcile all the financials. And with us having so many moving parts in our developments and investments and so many investors, most funds, as we deal with our different software partners, what we're finding is everybody's like, you guys have way more investors than 99% of the funds that we ever come across. So a lot of what we're doing is trailblazing, and we're really like breaking this glass ceiling, and we're really innovating, because most funds, one, they don't offer as little of an investment, and most funds, like our investment benchmark or minimum is $500. Many funds start at $1,500, $5,000, $50,000, $10,000. So that's one. But two, so we have so many investors, and we have just a big pool. So I don't want to over-belabor that point, but I do want to level our expectations. So we should meet our K1 deadline, but I do want you to understand that many times funds ask for you to extend past your March 15th deadline to give the fund an opportunity, and you can look this up yourself. If you look at most major funds, many of them will ask their investors to extend till the fall. So hopefully we meet that. Hopefully I give you guys some understanding for those who are waiting on your partnership filings and returns through your K-1s. Another housekeeping note, redemptions and our 8% cumulative dividend payable. We put out a comprehensive redemption notification to all our investors stating that we would not be liquidating redemptions requests in 2020. What that means is, and again, it's all about education and us being mature, is that we have millions of dollars of capital that is invested into actual assets and opportunities. And we only have a certain amount of reserve capital, operational capital, and future investment capital. So for us to meet our mission, right, of performing, we cannot continuously redeem or liquidate assets to redeem capital. And in 2020, with our development happening here and our other assets we're still stabilizing and developing, et cetera, we put out a statement to our investors that in 2020 that we are not accepting and or liquidating any more redemption requests this year, right? So we need everyone to hold tight, know that we're ownership and assets, and we have to make responsible decisions as the fund managers and fiduciaries. If we liquidated everything, we sold everything, we have nothing. It's what happens within our community is that we complain about gentrification and other people buying our communities, but we're not willing to hold on to the assets in our community. So if we want to sell everything, we cannot hold everything. You can't do both. You can't sell off and hold, right? And so we have no problem. We don't intend to make it hard for anyone to redeem their capital. But as it's clearly stated, and I wanted to make this in our subscription agreement that we have a redemption policy. And as members, for all of our best interest, we have to make sure we have enough capital to operate the business and to stabilize our assets. Otherwise, we'd all be in trouble. So it's not about an emotional thing. It's about us making sound business decisions as co-partners in this organization. We deployed our investment dollars into assets that we've acquired. This strategy is to accrue equity over time, harvest long-term profits. And again, we can't accomplish receiving long-term profits and accruing equity if we're redeeming capital along the way. Legacy Centers is a great example. Again, our back house development is still going to be several $100,000, if not $1 million+ for our back development, which will be our phase 2. We're looking to put up about 20 to 30 offices, studio production space, flex space, event space, etc. And we want you guys a part of that. But again, we need investment dollars to do so. And we do have deals that are closing out. All right. So before I open up for Q&A, which is being 2 short minutes, live question and answers from live stream and our phone lines, I want to make 2 points. One point is Black Wall Street. So and I've made a management decision to be fair to our fund. Here at the Legacy Center, we have the opportunity to offer different services, as I mentioned, to our constituents, to our members, to the community. And as an entrepreneur, I can create other side companies and I can take advantage of what's called vertical integration, these different businesses, and just personally benefit, or my family personally benefit. I don't think and didn't feel that was right. And so through intentionality, our fund has reserved the opportunity to also invest in businesses tied into our real estate. And so I want to make and create an opportunity for our fund to participate in the operations and the profits and revenue of the businesses that we house here at the Legacy Center. I think it would be selfish. I don't think it would be proper or the best fiduciary or best manager and partner to have these verticals and business opportunities here at the Legacy Center, and it's just a Jay show or a Morrison show. So I want to open up the opportunity for the fund, and we'll be looking to finalize this over the coming weeks, but for the fund to participate in the business opportunities that we'll be offering the public here from the Legacy Center, and making sure the fund receives profits from the opportunities and things that we incubate here. This is our buildings, our asset. So I'm excited about that. That's Black Wall Street in real life. Black Wall Street just wasn't real estate. It was real estate and the services and businesses that were housed there. So that was another major point that I want to cover. And then I'm losing my thought. Please help me. Big one. And we're going to question and answer is dividend payouts and distributions. So I'm getting encouraging news from our legal and accounting team. I know it's a big question, right? You invest in a fund. Hey, when do we get our returns? So part of the issue, if you will, is Georgia state law and our operating agreement and the advice we've gotten from different legal counsel and different accounting and tax strategy counsel has basically said, and I want to show you guys this. This is our dividend conversations. Everyone wants to know this. The way that counsel, per our operating agreement and state law and our regulation, the way they initially had described our opportunity was that we raise money into our fund, right? We deploy that capital into real estate assets and into our general business operations. And we would have to make back all the money from our real estate assets, all the money from our business operations. So if we put $7.5 million into all this, they're saying, hey, you got to make back this whole $7.5 million. I did a video on this for you guys. You got to make back this whole $7.5 million. And then after you make this back, any dollars on top of that, so right, $7.6 million would then mean you got $100,000 to disperse to your partners, right? To bring back to the fund and all the partners that invested, right? And then we pay off dividends off of that, right? So it's kind of like a net of the whole fund, net profit of the whole fund. Well, through further diligence and hiring new advisors and looking at the laws and our operating agreement and statute, there may be an opportunity for us to distribute profits from our opportunities much quicker, much sooner, and based on a monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually basis, right? Transparency. I'm not going to pretend to be perfect for you all. I'm not going to pretend to have been it figured out. I know it sounds cool for Instagram and social media to be like, you got all the answers. I'm relying on advisors. I'm relying on our operating agreement. I'm relying on professionals who've done this much longer than all of us have. But what I am finding is that, for instance, we closed out on an opportunity, Knapp Street. On Knapp Street, we made a 35% ROI. And we brought back, I believe it was like over 120, I want to say like almost $140,000 of profit off this investment. Per the way our counsel had advised and people have co-signed, is that we wouldn't be able to distribute this capital until we made all the capital back from the Legacy Center and every other investment, and it would literally be a year or two or however long, maybe even years, to stabilize and bring all that capital back, because we'd have to liquidate things or refinance things to make all our full profits back. So the encouraging news is, and I can't promise, I'm still diving in, but the encouraging news when it comes to when do I get some money back, when do I get dividends distributions, is that we believe from our operating agreement, studying it and challenging it with our legal team and with Georgia state law and being in compliance. Well, the last thing that you all want, and that I damn sure want, is to move in an incompliant way where they view this fund as a Ponzi scheme, right? That's the last thing we want. We want in reputation, we want in real life, we want in legal, and all that, right? So again, this responsibility falls on me. So I hear and I know our hopes. Many of us are like, hey, Jay, do your thing. I'm not worried about a return. Like, I would have gave you an investment anyway just for the movement. I get there's a large spirit of that. Folks that aren't even concerned about the ROI as long as we're doing the right things and making progress. I know there's a large constituent of that. There's some of our investment partners, fairly so, who are like, I want a dividend payout. I want a distribution. I want a return. Fair enough. We just cannot do it in a way that lands me in jail, that crushes our fund, and that fails everybody. So I have to do it in a way that's compliant. So what I'm finding out is that there may be a way that we can take the profits that we make from individual investments in a certain period, and we're going to define that. And within that period, if we are profitable based on that investment and our expenses in that period, we can then distribute. So it'll be profits minus expenses and debt, and any mortgage debt would equal a net operating income, if you will, for that period. And we may be able to distribute that to our investors in that period. And that's what I'm aggressively working towards and being transparent about with you all. But I want to do it in a way that does not, again, cripple our fund, and certainly does not make me a liar or make me a bad fiduciary or manager or land me in trouble or heavily fined, right? It's not what I don't think any of us want. So that is a full account of our recap of our newsletter, of our 2020 kickoff, 2019 recap, and our commitment to performance, transparency, and trust delivered to you on TREF Talks Tuesdays. I want to open up the phone lines for your conversation, your communication, your contribution, or questions. And I do want to encourage anyone that likes the sound of this, feels the spirit of this, wants to own shares of the Black House, wants their name on the legacy wall in our phase 2, wants to be a part of this company. I want to encourage you all to go to TulsaRealEstateFund.com, create your account, and you can invest tonight. Like, you don't have to play, you don't have to procrastinate. We do want you to read and feel comfortable and have reviewed and know what you're getting into, but we do want you to take action if you believe this company, this historic company, is something that you want to be a part of, this movement. If you want to put your money where your mouth is, and you're looking for a progressive organization that has done some substantial work and has performed and offered transparency and is building trust within the community, we want you to be our partner so we can harvest long-term investment returns, opportunities together, and comprehensively revitalize and restore our community. We are open for partnership today. Minimum 10 shares, $50 per share, or 500 investment. You can invest 1,000, 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, 5 million. You can invest into the fund and allow us to do more of the work that we've proven that we are capable of doing. So we want to encourage you to do that. If you're not ready to invest tonight, please just create an investment account so you can join our email list, and we can email you our newsletter and future communications about the good work that we are aiming to do. Q&A, let's go. All right, I'm on speaker here. You want me to take off speaker? Yeah. All right, off speaker. And
there's a caller live, 305.
305, you're live?
Hey, good afternoon. Good evening. How you doing?
Good evening, King. Peace. I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for taking my question. So my question is kind of two parts. And the first part is getting a better understanding of what the capabilities are for the fund.
Okay.
The main reason I'm asking that question goes to my second question, is if those funds are unencumbered, are you able to utilize those funds on trade programs, bullets, parachute programs, in order to generate liquidity for the actual fund itself?
When you say trade programs, are you talking about like foreign exchanges or securities?
No, we're actually, I'm actually talking about the buying and selling of paper instruments, SPLCs, predominantly.
Okay, there are some regulations around some notes and some paper. We have some flexibility, but there are also some limitations. I would encourage you, if that's something you're doing or that we can explore, is if you email info@TulsaRealEstateFund.com and send over a proposal. I can certainly have our compliance team look at what our opportunities could be. Most of our activity is around real estate activity. We are and have the flexibility to invest up to 25% of our fund capital into business opportunities as well. But certain securities, though, certain securities and paper, may not fall in that line, but that can be explored.
Perfect. And just a little bit more elaboration on how the procedures work. is that, because I'm actually working on the structure with multiple real estate firms, and essentially what we're doing is we're able to give individuals with a certain amount of liquidity in their accounts, an LTV of 100%. And then essentially what we're using, the LTV is based upon the proof of funds that's in those accounts. We set up a new, completely special purpose vehicle in order to utilize the LTV for a trade. So you're essentially leveraging against the liquidity that you have in order to get a loan against it, and then use those loan proceeds for a trade program.
Right,
So
now,
but I was definitely like to
question.
put some information into.
Yeah, thank you. And Queen Jazz, let's get his number, please, because I like the sound of it. Do we have his number on the moderation? 305 something? You need a pen?
I gotta be able to write it down.
Oh. Other hand, King, somebody come help out. We got it. We'll figure it out. So, King, question for you though: is the leverage capital? Is it then collateralized and has to be dormant?
No, so not necessarily. So what generally happens is we set up a special purpose entity in another jurisdiction. Now, with the jurisdiction, it's predominantly going to be international. And then what we do is we loan ourselves, similar in this instance if you're going to do an insurance loan. So you're going to loan yourself the capital, basically, and you're going to put an interest on it that will be very modest, because essentially you're going to be paying back yourself. So, for instance, you're going to create a special purpose entity. And
So let me stop you.
Richard has no income.
I'm pretty familiar with some of those strategies. So let me stop you there. First, let me get your name, please. Again. Steven. All right. So Queen Jazz writing down your number as well. Send that email over, but I'll also have my team explore it, and then either you will get in touch with us or we can try to circle back.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your offer to collaborate. That's the spirit of what we're doing here, is us leveraging what we all have to do something greater. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I also want to say that I was an early investor.
TREF Life. All right. It's a partner talking too. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll go to our next caller.
Oh, 651.
Hi, this is Paul from Minnesota.
You said Paul? Saul.
Hey, Dave, so I like what you're doing, man. I haven't invested yet, but I am planning on to this summer, hopefully. I'm going through some changes here. But my question for you guys here is now, I know you kind of mentioned briefly, I know you're heavily focused on real estate. In terms of future goals, are you planning to diversify into different industries or?
Saul, thank you for that question. I actually forgot to mention that. So to all my TREF partners, everybody watching, as we talked about this being a beta test, yes, Saul's the answer. We want to take what we learned from this fund, this process, and we want to have 50 of these funds for technology, for education, for other businesses, for environment, for whatever it is that we deem that we need to do as a united agenda. We now will have the process, the systems, the procedures, the operations, the compliance, and the infrastructure needed to duplicate what we've created here and do it multiple times over. So that was always a part of our vision, was not just one Tulsa Real Estate Fund, that's small fries, but to build the infrastructure for multiple funds to allow us to control our dollars and to enact group economics in real life. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll go to our next caller.
Q is clear, King.
All right, so anyone else, again, you guys can hop in. What's the number? Can I read it out loud for anybody that might be live streaming or listening? Yeah, all right, guys, your number is 515-604-9995. PIN number 640076. So you can call into 515-604-9995. PIN number 640076. TREF Talks Tuesdays. So I do appreciate, I don't know if live stream has any questions anywhere, but I do appreciate you all for hopping in and listening to our announcements tonight. Thank you to all my investors for having faith in what we're doing here. This is an amazing opportunity for us, a lot of historical context to it, and I look forward to us continue to build and bridge this wealth gap and control our economics together.
is a question on Facebook.
Sure.
Jeremy Strickling asked to make sure I understand, those who wish to liquidate their investment cannot make that request throughout 2020?
Yes, if you're looking to liquidate your investment in 2020, we send out a redemption policy to all our investors through their emails that we would not be liquidating redemptions in 2020 based on our asset and cash position at this time. If that changes adversely, then we would change that policy.
Claudia Keller asked, if we have already invested, do we go through the same process and answer the same questions in order to reinvest?
Queen Claudia, great question. I want us lean to the yes, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know if you've got to answer every question. I think it's a little more simpler to self-accreditate when you already have a profile in the system. So it should be somewhat simpler for you because the system should already recognize your self-accreditation. Let's hope.
Maybe email info?
But yeah, you certainly can email info. And if we get Queen, I don't know if we have her on Facebook. Yeah, if we give her the email, our investor relations would be happy to help you with that question. If you go through the process and get any hang-ups, let us know. Any other off the streams? Thank you all for those who called in and those who streamed.
We have callers.
We have callers? Let's take some calls.
Caller 336.
Call 336.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you well, yep.
Hey, what's going on, man? My name's David. I was wondering if you offer any type of programs that show that person how to really get into real estate, the ins and outs, and how to really find your first deal and find those deals out there to really get moving.
Sure. So Dede asked about any programs we offer. Dede, are you in Atlanta local area or are you like somewhere else?
I'm in North Carolina.
All right. So Dede, we have a really cool program in our sister company, the J. Morrison Academy, where it would tell you how to find deals, where to find sellers and buyers, how to evaluate your deals, how to finance deals, how to start your LLC, how to brand yourself, how to find your first home, flips, how to be a landlord, all that. And that's at jmorrisonacademy.com. It's an online program. Each lesson's 30 minutes. It teaches you a specific niche topic, that lesson, and it comes with a quiz and a test to assess your retention of that information. So it's a full curriculum taught in a very relatable way, and thousands of students have been educated through that program. And so that's jmorrisonacademy.com, and it's called our RBC program, Real Estate, Business, and Credit.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Caller 337.
337, call 337.
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Hey, Tim, it's Richard Gilbo from Louisiana. I was just asking, I wanted to know, so if we were looking to partner with TREF to purchase a property, how would that process work? If we were to purchase together, how would that be paid out? Like, would I be, being that I would be part owner of it with you guys, would I be receiving monthly income as well? Or would that be, how would that work?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to submit an opportunity for investment, you go to TulsaRealEstateFund.com and you submit a deal. And if we do partner on that investment, whether we act as private lenders or a syndication partner or however, development partner, that partnership relationship is separate than your passive investing fund relationship, right? So you'll be a fund owner on one side, but a separate developer relationship on the other side. That make sense?
Yeah, no.
All right, wonderful.
Because we would get paid monthly.
Well, it would be based, I don't know what kind of investment you're talking about, right? I don't know if it's a development, I don't know if it's an apartment complex, I don't know what it is. So it would either be us lending you the money and yes, you would pay a monthly mortgage or whatever terms we worked out. It could be us going, partners and splitting profits on the equity. So it all depends on the terms of that deal.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got too many thoughts in my head. But, so we got apartment deals and we got hotel deals. I'm part of I have the CEO Essentials course. I've been having that for a while. I think I changed the name of it recently, but, so I'm looking to syndicate the deal pretty much. And, would you guys be interested in hotels, if it's a good deal, if all the numbers work?
Yeah, we're looking at a hotel opportunity. You're looking at a hotel opportunity right now. I would submit the opportunity to TulsaRealEstateFund.com.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, well, that's all, man, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, who else we got?
Call it 412.
Call,
410?
2.
412.
yeah, Paul Brent,
Paul Brent?
Paul, C-A-R.
Oh, Carl, excuse me. I was muffled. Yep. How you doing, King Carl?
All right, you.
I'm well, thank you.
Thanks to you and your team for all the work that y'all doing. But my question is, how is it that y'all make a strategy to be able to combat the powers that be that keep trying to change the regulations every time you get a step forward? That are really trying to make it seem like that your business is doing something nefarious.
Now, that's a great question, King. It does put at us at some level of exposure, right? Where the powers that be, through policy and legislation, can change what we've utilized to do what we've done, right? And
Yes, sir.
so what we are trying to do and encourage everyone to do is let's get in now while we have the opportunity. And not say, oh, legislation change, policy change. Oh man, I should have got in on that. Right? So this is our window for group economics. And although we've raised, several million together, I mean, our fund cap is 50 million. If we were all serious with all the followers and views and this we had, we could have raised 50 million by now and done even more substantial work. So we can't control policy. We do have some political allies and political strategy, but we can't fully control policy. But there's no time like the present for us to take advantage of the opportunity that we do have.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, because I think that alone stops a lot of people from going in and deciding to be a part of something bigger and something better that actually supports them and benefits them directly. But the powers that be, they have a foothold to where they can make it a weight game. You have a lot of people that ask them, when do we get our payout? When do we get our payout? When do we get our payout? And you're being extremely generous with the transparency and letting them know how everything is working and how they continuously change things. But at the same time, the powers that be can leverage that weight gain to be indefinite, just because they can change policies whenever they want.
Well, no. So no, I want to correct that. Our weight game, and our opportunity can't be, in my opinion, indefinite. There were some advisory misinterpretations, or maybe proper interpretations, or conflict of interpretation. So those are challenges. But my question I pose back, King Carl, is if we don't do this, right? Even if just say the powers that be changed everything and we could not for a while receive our returns, right? Which would be bad.
Yes, sir.
But us doing nothing, is that not worse?
Yeah, it's about the same result.
No. Us doing nothing means we own nothing, we acquired nothing.
Right.
Right? So even if we had to let our investments bubble, and this is not the case, y'all, I'm not scaring nobody, but if we had to let our investments bubble for 10 years, and we kept flipping the money, what King Nitzel say? All money in, no money out. And we kept flipping it, we'd at least have equity and ownership and power and control. But if we use those fears to say, oh man, I ain't gonna get involved in that, I'm gonna do what? Well, what happens to the $500, $1,000, $3,000 that we go on vacation with? Do we see that back?
Yeah, just spending recklessly. Yeah, I got you. I mean, I understood that when you first started.
Yeah.
And you put everything out on the table for everybody to understand. Like, listen, we got opportunity here. But like I said, the thing is, the powers to be, the people that control, not control, but inhibits your move as far as what you're trying to do for everybody when you bring them in.
Yes.
And they decide, well, it's not our people. It's not the people that we want you to move around and help out. So
It's rocky waters. No, it is rocky waters to maneuver. But I say this as I'm looking at, Medgar Evers and Obama and others here on our Black House walls, and think about Marcus Garvey and think about the impediments that were on Marcus Garvey and the UNIA. Think about the systems and powers that be that were against O.W. Gurley and Black Wall Street in 1905. So if we gonna let the system or powers that be or impediment stop us in 2020, we don't deserve none of this. When our ancestors just 40, 50 years after enslavement did the same thing under KKK watch and Jim Crow and post-Reconstruction. So we got to get past our fears and some of our excuses and got to understand that we have to take action, and with no action, we get nothing. And it may not all work out perfect or work out how we want, but I'm sure Harriet Tubman had the same thoughts. How could this go wrong? But had she not taken action, it would have never went right.
right.
So that's my, that's my ideology, my perspective, and kind of how I live life is, we got to shoot our shot, and we got to try to advance our community. This is a dire situation for us. Economically, we are in last place. Our communities are in shambles. We're being gentrified. We don't control enough assets. We haven't practiced group economics in over 100 years in an equitable way. And it's time to get to work. And we'll deal with whatever comes down the line later. We can deal with it if it comes. We don't even know.
Right.
All right. But thank you, though, for that talk, though. I appreciate it, though. I really do. Good talk.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Caller 901.
901.
Hello?
Yes, Queen. Peace.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that brother that just called, but, can't stop, won't stop, brother. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
What you say, King?
I said can't stop, won't stop.
There you go. I got two questions. How do you feel with this coronavirus going on? How would that affect the real estate market and our plan take to the next level? And you briefly talked about the tech industry. Do you have any future plans and any thoughts on that? And one day I'm hoping we can all own our own hospitals and things like that. That's going to take it to the next level. But I'd just like to get your comment on those three things. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Queen. Yeah, I have not thought about the coronavirus impacts on real estate, which actually is a thought worth thinking. I know internally, I saw something my staff sent that around today. I know some things that we're doing to protect ourselves, insurance-wise and others. I also saw some post, I don't know how true it is, but that coronavirus is not affecting people of African descent as frequently. I've heard. This is through Instagram, so it's not verified. I don't know. But that is something to look at. But yes, tech. So, Legacy Center, Tulsa Real Estate Fund, is collaborating with OHUB, Opportunity Hub, which is one of the largest black co-working tech villages in Atlanta, with Rodney Sampson and his wife, Sharita. So, I think Shateria, excuse me. So we are going to be at South by Southwest on March 12th and 14th, presenting TREF times OHUB. And we're looking at a collaboration here at the Legacy Center to offer what's called the future of work and tech internships, tech jobs, coding classes, and all things tech that we want to offer a curriculum here at the Legacy Center and partner in collaboration because remember the vision of the Legacy Center, I didn't mention it in this long kind of recap, but we want to bring these Legacy Center buildings to other cities with financial resources and these job opportunities. And so we're looking at tech being one of those, and inevitably investing some capital into tech funds. So that's kind of that piece. I don't know if there was another question that I might have missed in that.
No, I was saying one day, we look forward to owning our own hospitals.
Yes.
You know, the difference between living in the neighborhood and living in the community. When you're in the neighborhood, you just exist in the neighborhood. But when you live in the community, King, you own everything in that community and everything in that community benefits you and the people. So
Absolutely.
that's just my thought.
No, that's a brilliant thought. I heard that somewhere before, but glad you brought that to my mind. So, here's where I'm on it. Okay, I'm just gonna talk frank. Is we get this down, which we're getting it down, right? This one model.
Yes.
This is the proof.
Right.
This is the proof of concept of how we own our grocery store, how we own our hospital, how we own our school, and everything else. So, you know, this is why this first fund is so important, because it's going to be the example and the pilot and blueprint for how we're able to micro raise and own our community together. And again, you're right, not just be in the neighborhood, but own the neighborhood or the community and the amenities thereof. And so that is in our plans. I'm going to make an announcement in our next TREF talk, kind of about some of our future plans coming up this year. We have some other things we're going to unveil, but it does fit into a little bit with your vision of owning our hospitals, owning our grocery stores, and owning many of our community amenities. So, God willing, inshallah, we do move forward in that capacity. And this fund, we all support it how it's supposed to be supported. I'll continue to be as diligent as I can to make sure we're successful. And we will use this as proof and a trust token to our community to do bigger projects like hospitals, et cetera.
So you all in the staff are doing a great job. Me being in another state, of course, I can't shake everyone's hand and pat everyone on the back. So we thank you, brother, and long live TREF life. Peace.
Peace, Queen. Long live TREF life. I love y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all. And thank you guys for acknowledging just the level of work we're putting into this, all of us. I mean, multiple staff members here. After this, I'm going back to work. Like, I'm not done. Like, ain't no like going home and chilling. Like, this is a real commitment. I'm so inspired by our ancestors. We had a Black History exhibit this week. I had a Black History, some artifacts I want to share with you guys, but I think we're kind of past that time. So next time, I promise. But at this Black History exhibit, I got to, as you guys saw on Instagram, I got to hold Marcus Garvey's plate. I got to see the original UNIA certificates. I got to see, it got to help humanize these ancestors we talk about who were great, and we just see them as like statues or pictures. It got to humanize them in their efforts, and it just inspired me to think about their challenges, and it should inspire all of us to buckle down and continue to do this work if we're really serious about doing this work, and I'm really serious about doing this work. Next caller. I heard you.
Hey, Jay, how you doing, man?
I'm well, King. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. My name is Jawan. I go by Jay too, though.
All right, Jay.
But I didn't really have a question, man. I just wanted to speak some confidence building insight to these people out here, man. One, I really appreciate what you're doing, your movement, how you're moving, your transparency. You know, I made it known in the little chat thing there, you know, as far as like sending you a little bit on that note, as far as like your mannerisms or how you're handling this. I can't pretend to know what it's like to be in real estate, the you know, the intricacies of dealing with a business or multiple businesses, man. So one, thank you, you know, for making this move in the first place, right? Because as you said, when I first watched you, you thought about it and you said, if nobody do it, who gonna do it?
Facts.
So you did it. We got naysayers out here, of course, in our own community. You know, Nipsey was killed by one of us. We're our own worst enemy.
Yep.
And these people out here crying about this dividend. Well, let's chill. Like, you gave $500. Like, you didn't give your whole 401k. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people that gave 14, 15, 25,000, whatever. But you gave $500 to something that's going to help our people, something that's going to empower us, something that's going to change your generations to come, and you're worried about 8%.
I can't say that, but you can. Yeah, I can't say that. I do, but in sentiment, it's not like, I guess my point is, every person's dollar matters to them, and I respect that, right? My point as a sentiment is, we are working diligently, right? That's the best marketing campaign we could ever give, is to give dividends. You don't think that I want to, right? Like, we want to. We want to do it in a way that is compliant and doesn't get us in trouble. And we want to do it in a way that's responsible for all of our investors. And we also have some sense of encouragement, at least, that we're doing the work, right? Like, it was like, oh man, they ain't bought nothing yet, right? That was the first thing, because we didn't buy something in the first 2 months. It was like, oh, they didn't even buy nothing. It took time to actually evaluate the deals to actually buy something. So it's like, no matter what stage we get to, it's, you know what's so funny, King? I want everybody to listen up to this. Nobody be in their feelings. I'm watching this, it's a new show on Netflix. I forgot the name of it, but it's about black actors. I think it's called They Need Us. And I'm watching it, and it was talking about, was it Hattie Mae? Was the black actress in the early 1900s who always played a maid? King, check it out. Hattie Mae was one of the first, or the first, black Grammy Award winner. Oscar winner, right? Oscar winner. And guess what? Black people had a whole campaign saying they were mad at Hattie Mae for breaking the barrier, making it easier for all of us to get into the industry, being the first black Oscar winner. But it was not enough for our people, because all the roles she played was of a maid. So they felt she was playing into the role or degradation that they portray us as. Which I understand that perspective, but can we be high-minded enough to think about the bigger picture, that regardless of what role she was playing, that she did something that was never ever done within the community and opened up a door for millions of us? We somehow find a way to find some kind of fault in everything that we do. So if black man raises several hundred thousand or millions and does nothing with it in years, and you expect that from us, that's the issue. We don't invest in the first 60 days, that's the issue. We finally do invest and build some stuff, well, it's not enough. We invest some more and build something up, well, it ain't come back fast enough. We build the Legacy Center, it's not black enough. Like, at some point, we gotta just be, like you said, be our own best friend instead of our own worst enemy. And we're working our way towards that. And so, but I do respect everyone's investment. We are working towards, and happy. I'll be happy the day we cut them dividend checks. Trust me. But the biggest,
Listen.
Go ahead,
I'm
King.
not saying that, I respect everybody giving their dime. But I'm talking about the people that are negative. Like, they have an expectation of an ROI. It's no problem to me. My problem is the ones that invested and then have a negative connotation towards that investment. Like, if expecting a return, that's fine. Like, we all expect something out of it. Right? But my problem is the people that are coming at you south, with this anger, this animosity, or this frustration, like, you need to chill, like, it's gonna come. Like, you want them to give you like, if I give you bricks, I'm gonna build a house.
Right, I'm gonna use that example. I say money, I always say, if we sell everything, we can't own anything. But that's a good point. If I give you a brick, how can I build a house? That's a great one, I'm gonna use that. And the other part is that we also feel good that we're owners in something together. So it's not like you're not an owner in the company. You're my partner. So you shouldn't argue and feel animosity to me. We partners. and I'll be transparent with you about what's going on, and whatever. But that's what we're working towards and working through as a community. And I know that's what I signed up for, and I signed up for it all over again. You know what I mean? It has its days and its moments. I'm sure Garvey went through it. I'm sure not all of Garvey's investors were happy. Especially he got locked up. They charged him with wire fraud and all that. I'm sure people that was like, oh, I knew it. But he was infiltrated, right? And so this is why I appreciate your empathy, maybe sympathy, maybe concern at least, or just vote of confidence, as you said, because no one but me truly knows what it feels like to be in this seat. Because no one took on the obligation. Like no one else took it on. You don't know what it feels like.
I know somebody else is waiting, but I'm going to end on, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your team. I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your vision. I'm here, I'm a founding partner, what I'm saying? I gave $2,000, and that ain't, a drop in a bucket to what we're going to see. So I appreciate it. Everybody just lay off my man, let him work. Don't give him no added stress. He's already stressed enough. The man can stay up late nights. Like, I had that problem. Like, yo, relax, man. I understand. Keep going, keep moving, keep pushing, man. Trust for life, baby.
TREF Life. Thank you, partner. I appreciate you. Man.
Yes, sir.
If I ain't got nobody in my corner, I got that brother in my corner. What's his number? I'm calling him up every Tuesday. Just pep talk me, please. Y'all don't know what this is like, man. I got a little gray hair coming right here, my waves. Y'all don't know what I go through, man. We'll take 2 more callers, man. 2-3 more calls, we out of here. What we got?
Caller 301.
301.
Yo, Peace King Jay.
Peace, King.
Hey Jay, question, man. Hey, I'm a novice in this arena, man. So forgive me if I, sound like some silly questions, man. But the 50 mil, I think the 50 mil cap. What does that mean? Like the investors can't reach past 50, like the assets can't get over 50. What that mean?
Yeah, based on our particular regulation of a fund, right? Under our government guidelines, we can't raise more than $50 million in one given year. So that would be our cap. So if our community got together like we supposed to, and 50,000 people invested $1,000, we'd have 50 mil overnight, and we'd be over cap.
Okay, and that's per year, you said.
Yeah, per year.
Each year you can do 50 more.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Second question, man. Previously, when I was looking to get started investors, it said that no longer wasn't accepting any more partners at that time. So is the doors back open now?
The TREF doors for partnership are back open. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, man. I'm in there, Jay, man.
You in there?
To you and the fam, what everybody doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said, are you in there?
I'm in there, Jay. I'm in there, man. Much love to you and the fam, man. I've been following the movement for a minute, man. Ever since the YMC days, bro. So.
You really been following the movement? You said YMC. They don't even know about YMC, King.
Yeah, they don't know about that, Jay. They don't know about it, bro. I love what you're doing, man. The movement, the growth. I've seen it ever since them days, bro. So I'm in there. I'm gonna get mine in the night, as a matter of fact. So appreciate it, bro. I'll be on the next calls, man. I'm already getting emails and everything. So
that's love.
There, man.
So let your family know after tonight when you invest that y'all are now official commercial builder owners. Y'all officially apartment complex owners if you're not already. And let's do it that way.
Hey, much love. Appreciate it.
Love, King. Y'all appreciate you. And YMC, that was the first wake up video days. That was growth. That's like 2012, 2013?
That's a lot.
I've been on this grind for, all right, yeah, so I'm going to wrap up, y'all. I've been on this grind for a minute, this empowerment grind. This ain't no Johnny come lately. I've been on this grind for a minute. But thank you all again for tuning in. I know it's been a long one, but we got a full recap. We're going to send this replay out to everyone. For everyone that joins our email list, TulsaRealEstateFund.com, create your investment account so you at least get the email notifications. We encourage you to become an investor and partner one day, right? It's not you just in investing or donating or giving. You are partnering, owning equity, shares, of our company. So we encourage that. Look forward to the new partners. Look forward to you guys touring and seeing the Black House. And we are working hard on our behalf to always provide performance, transparency, and trust. Ain't no ducking and dodging. Where they at, what they doing. We're bringing that to the forefront in an open forum. This is all part of the vision I had, was to be able to offer up our fund in a transparent way, so we can see that there's real trust and genuineness and authenticity in the community. I hope that we represent and have shown ourselves to be that. Thank you to Queen Jazz, King Gene, and our whole team for contributing and putting this together. I love you guys. See you on the next TREF Talks. Again, join the email list, TulsaRealEstateFund.com. Follow the IG page, TulsaRealEstateFund.com. Tulsa Real Estate Fund LLC on Facebook and the YouTube. Let's keep doing the work. It's on us. We cannot keep complaining about what somebody is not doing for us, what the government is not doing for us, when we haven't really taken the responsibility to do for ourselves what we can do for ourselves. That's on us. All right? Peace out. Talk to y'all soon. Love y'all. It's TREF Life for life.